Hope is closer than ever, providing patients in Metro Atlanta the cancer care they deserve. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
We're number one. We're number one. I'm Cordy, Cortland's spokespug and number one Braves fan. We all know that the Braves are number one. Did you also know that Cortland is number one? Cortland is ranked number one apartment brand on Reputation.com because of the best living spaces and amazing resident service. You know what else is number one? Hot dogs and ball fetching and more hot dogs. Cortland, proud sponsor of the Atlanta Braves. Find your new apartment home at Cortland.com.
At Georgia Power, we know that energy costs are an important part of every budget, and we're committed to providing tools and assistance to make a difference. Learn more at georgiapower.com/myenergy.
This road trip to Pittsburgh. We'll see the Pirates tomorrow night at PNC Park. We'll be on the air at 5:25 Eastern with a Ford leadoff show, and then the first pitch to follow at 6:40 Eastern, 5:40 Central. The Braves have not announced a starter for tomorrow. In fact, that information might be coming up in just a moment on the Hyundai postgame show, so stick around for that. We do know that the Pirates will send out the left-hander Bailey Falter. He's 2-2 with a 3.53 ERA. Great job, as always, by the fellas in studio. That's Ryan Hopper and David Holloway. Also for Darren O'Day and our producer-engineer, Jonathan Chadwick, I'm Ben Ingram saying so long and a good afternoon from Wrigley Field in Chicago, where the Braves win the rubber game of this series with their 8th shutout win of the year. Final score, Braves 3, Cubs nothing. Stay tuned for the Hyundai postgame show. That's coming at you right now with Kevin McAlpin. Kevin.
All right, thanks a lot, Ben. It's another shutout for the Braves. They take down the Cubs 3-0. They clinch the series victory here today. And, of course, we'll have a full recap for you coming up on the Hyundai postgame show. After a break, we'll have the highlights, get reaction from the clubhouse, and tell you more about the series in Pittsburgh starting tomorrow. But it is time right now for your Xfinity play of the game. And you know we're giving it to Jared Kelenic here today. Led off the top of the fifth with his third home run of the season. Gives him 4 homers in 5 career games at the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. Third of the season was all the Braves would need here today, as Jared Kelenic not only leads the Braves to a victory, but he takes home your Xfinity play of the game in the process. Braves fans, with the Xfinity 10G network, get the fastest internet with a reliable connection so everyone can be online at once. Introducing the next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. Hey, we'll have the highlights, we'll hear from the players, and a whole lot more on the Hyundai postgame show, and it's coming up next on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
Thanks for listening to Atlanta Braves Baseball on the Braves Radio Network, lit by Louisiana Hot Sauce. This broadcast of Atlanta Braves Baseball is a presentation of the Atlanta Braves and Dickey Broadcasting Company, Atlanta. Any use of the accounts, descriptions, and audio of today's game without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves Major League Baseball Club and Dickey Broadcasting Company is strictly prohibited. Don't move, because the Hyundai postgame show is up next on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network. Lit by Louisiana Hot Sauce.
Everyone needs car insurance. Legally, you gotta have it. The good news is
or fancy Goodyear or Cooper tires.
With every Braves homer.
Plus that free alignment and now a free oil change. We're all getting soft, I tell you. Soft!
I know, Gramps.
No matter the obstacles, setbacks, twists and turns, never lose sight of the destination. Because when you get there, the next adventure is just beginning. I'm Michael Harris II. Follow your own path. Check out the Ford Bronco and Ford Bronco Sport SUVs at your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of your Atlanta Braves.
Some models, trims, and features may not be available and may be subject to change.
Dive into the ultimate dining experience at National Anthem Atlanta, in the heart of the Battery Atlanta and the Omni Hotel.
It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Welcome all of you in on what is, for now, a pretty nice-looking Thursday in Nashville, but based on the weather the last few days, who knows? There's stuff all around us, but for the moment, it's perfectly dry. We will be joined by the 95.9 radio audience here in just a couple of moments following Atlanta Braves baseball. Braves beat the Cubs today at Wrigley 3-0. And so let's sort of get the show on the road. Let's start in Murfreesboro and say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm great, George. How you doing?
Doing good. What's going on in your world?
Not much, man. I just saw where the Doors beat up on the Vols last night. I'm sure you and old Billy are happy.
You know, that one caught people by surprise. 12-4, and since he brought it up, Billy, where is this offense coming from?
I don't know. It was pretty surprising the last few games, really, for Vanderbilt. It started Game 3 in Lexington against Kentucky, where they scored 12 runs, I think, against the Wildcats and ended up salvaging that series. And then they beat Florida. They only put up 6 there, but to do this against Tennessee was impressive. And they're playing well at the right time, and that's important in baseball. Now, can they go on the road at a regional and do it? We'll see. But, I mean, you've done it against some really good competition, so I think it's got to mean for something.
This is a perfect segue to go out to the Hoover Met just outside of Birmingham and say hello to Missouri student. He's a Tiger. He's Billy Jones, and he's done a great job all week covering the baseball for us. Billy, looks like Tennessee's in quite a tussle with A&M.
Yeah, they've started to pull away here lately. They've really got the long ball going and the extra base hits. Kavares Tears has been great today for the Vols, 4 RBIs. He's a triple short of the cycle today. And then just a second ago, we saw Cal Stark hit one over the wall to put that Tennessee lead back at 4. But, you know, they did what they've been doing in the Friday starts this year, where they give you about 3 or so innings of Chris Stamos, and then they let A.J. Causey carry the load, and a combined 10 strikeouts and just 2 earned runs from those guys in 7+ innings. So Vols are sitting pretty today, and looks like they're going to keep their SEC tournament alive, barring a collapse in the top of the ninth.
Okay, so top of the ninth, what's the score?
It's still the bottom of the 8th. Tennessee's still hitting, but they're leading 7-3 right now. If they can get 3 outs in the top of the ninth, they'll close this thing out.
The score is always important. Now let's talk about Arkansas getting bounced out earlier today by Kentucky.
Yeah, 9-6 Kentucky win. A Wildcats offense that's been near the top of the SEC in runs scored went blank yesterday, held to a 0 spot by LSU, but they got running, and they got the long ball going as well. Trey Poozer was great for the Wildcats, 5 scoreless. And they defeat Arkansas 9-6. And, you know, for a Dave Van Horn club that, you know, has had some struggles in the postseason, at least relative to how successful they've been in the regular season, going to be a scary couple days. I think there's going to be a lot of anxiety going in to Fayetteville over the next week, where they will be a national seed. But I think still a lot of, you know, anxious Hogs fans worried about, you know, can they get to Omaha? Because I think there's still a lot of questions about this team offensively, especially if they don't have dominant pitching.
So speaking of pitching, tell me what you're hearing tonight on Vandy, Mississippi State, which is scheduled for 8 o'clock, may or may not go at 8. What are you hearing?
Sounds like J.D. Thompson, still no word officially. Tim Corbin didn't give a great update as far as Carter Holton's availability. He had to leave that Kentucky series early. For Mississippi State, it will be Durangelo Sanja, who, if you haven't gotten a chance to watch him this year, I'd tune in tonight. The guy pitches ambidextrously. He can throw from the right and the left. He's, one of the most exciting pitchers to watch in the SEC. So should be a fun one tonight, especially with a State crowd that really showed up last night. I assume they'll be just as loud today.
Oh, yeah. Cowbell City will descend on the Hoover Met. Billy, thank you as always. Good report.
Of course. I'll see you soon, George.
Billy Jones reporting live from the Hoover Met, which is a suburb of Birmingham. He'll be back with us at 5:03. Billy, I trust we have an update.
We do have an update, and it's brought to you by the great Lori Burnett Leland with USA Mortgage. You can see her online at mortgageladyyusa.com. Also, give her a call right there on the screen if you're watching. If you're listening in your car, 615-969-4350. That's 615-969-4350.
She told me earlier today that a couple of listeners have reached out to her. So for those of you who are doing such, we say thank you.
Yeah, she puts her name
Support
to it.
our sponsors.
She's going to get something.
Yeah.
So how about that? Okay, we got some Scotty Scheffler news. The latest with Scotty Scheffler, the cop that, there was obviously the one main cop involved here apparently failed to take off failed to activate his body cam during the incident at Valhalla Golf Club, and the Louisville Metro Police Department has taken corrective action against that officer. And the procedures that you got to wear it. You got to turn it on. He was wearing it, he just didn't activate it. Yeah. And so that officer is now in a little bit of trouble.
So doesn't that sort of turn this into he said, she said?
Yes, and there's two videos that came out today, and it doesn't put the police department in a very favorable light. The fact that Scotty Scheffler assaulted an officer, I mean, neither of the videos showed that. So I think this is going to end well for Scheffler and probably be a bad look on the department. That's my take on it, and that's what a lot of other people are talking about now. That these two videos have been released. One of them shows Scheffler's SUV turning into the entrance, prompting an officer to run toward the vehicle and strike it as it comes to a stop. The camera's too far away to capture the full details. So, again, still more details to come out. Maybe there's something else that comes out, but not the best look for the department. So that's the latest there. Also in the NBA, the Cavs have fired coach J.B. Bickerstaff after 5 seasons. Despite the franchise's first berth in the Eastern Conference semifinals in 6 seasons. So tough living up there in Cleveland.
Hold on. Let's go with one word. Absurd.
I mean, what more does he have to do?
Really? I mean, have you looked at that roster? And I don't mean this negatively because love Donovan Mitchell, who's a stud. Obviously, there's a real local tie in all of this as well. And but a front line that's supposed to compete with the Celtics, please.
Yeah, good luck.
Bill Walton, please.
Good luck with that.
I mean,
but he gone.
Yeah,
he gone.
I mean, listen, it's Darius Garland and it's Donovan Mitchell and really not much else. And I don't know what they expected, but shame on them. This is wrong.
Yeah, their explanation was that they need somebody to get them to the conference finals, not just the semifinals.
Get a GM to get you the talent.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it is. It's funny how that works.
WNBA, Caitlin Clark is trying to stay positive as the Fever have fallen to 0-5 in Indiana. Not the best start to Caitlin Clark's WNBA career. She said she's trying to be as positive as possible. She said, you're happy to lose. It's not fun, but at the same time, there's just a lot of things to build on. So
she said, you're happy to lose?
Oh, never happy to lose.
Okay.
My bad.
Well, hey, there's something when you get drafted to the Indiana Fever who's not very good. There's a reason that she got drafted high like that because they're not very good.
Yeah, she's averaging 6.5 turnovers per game, so not very clean offensive start, but I'm sure she'll get it together up there.
However, Barkley is right. Charles Barkley is right about a bunch of things. The players who are a little jealous right now, chill out. She's filling your arenas.
Yeah.
If you were that good, you would have.
That's correct. I mean, I don't. The buzz around her is unbelievable, and I know that some of them are butthurt, but you know what? It's bringing more money to the WNBA
than they've ever had. Baseball, and this is really interesting. I'm sure we'll get into it with Danny a little bit later in the 5 o'clock hour. Earlier today, Rob Manfred said there has not been as much progress in the minor leagues this year as MLB had hoped for the robot home plate umpire. He added that if and when the automatic ball strike is adopted, it would likely be a challenge system. So there's a lot there, but it hasn't had the success and maybe benefit in the minor leagues so far.
See, going to Sounds games, as I've watched that system, it's worked beautifully.
Well, that's just one city.
Maybe he needs to go to a minor league park and check it out.
You don't think he has representatives that do that?
George, hey, how does that work? I want to know, how does that work? Do you still got an umpire, but is he listening to?
Yeah, what you've got is sort of a challenge system where you allow this thing to take over, and within seconds, it shows you whether the pitch that was in question was a strike or was a ball. And look, I don't know. I know in Nashville, it has worked really well. Yeah. And, I don't know if Rob Manfred's been to a minor league game. I don't know if, if he knows if a baseball's pumped or stuffed. He's a labor negotiator, pure and simple.
Labor negotiator.
He's a labor negotiator.
Okay, here in Nashville, Vanderbilt.
And by the way, while we're on this subject, Rob, if you're watching,
and he's not,
wake up, pal. Those of us who have bought the extra innings package, who are getting the Reds and the Braves blacked out because of those morons at Comcast, wake up. Do something for your fans. You're always saying you want to grow the fan base. Well, you think this helps? Sorry. Kind of went off there, didn't I?
Kind of did.
Yeah. It's not the last time.
I doubt it. Here in Nashville, Vanderbilt has announced a gift of up to $20 million for their basketball facilities. An anonymous donor is going to match alumni gifts for Vanderbilt men's and women's basketball programs up to $20 million. And Vanderbilt is opening a new basketball operations facility in the fall that's going to house practice gyms, weight rooms, locker rooms, and other amenities for the two programs.
Two names that we will eliminate from the anonymous donor thing.
Mm-hmm.
Me
and Billy.
Will Perdue.
Oh, Will. Okay. I thought she was going to say Billy.
I hope that got back to Will.
Also, this was yesterday. Van Allen Lubin, who entered the portal on the last day he possibly could, has landed at North Carolina. So one of their better players last year. I mean, behind Ezer Manjon, was a pretty big piece to a bad team last year, and glad he's landed on his feet, but it got anxious there. I mean, for about a 2-week period, he hadn't found a landing spot, but he has landed at North Carolina.
I would guess that Jerry Stackhouse helped him.
I wonder about that because obviously Stack played at North Carolina, but I have heard Lubin, values academics, and he's a good player too. And at the time he entered, and I was talking about this with somebody a couple of days ago, there weren't a ton of really good forwards, centers in the market. They had already found a home. So if you want to say it was smart of him to enter, you can, but it was also the last day, so that's kind of risky to do that. I heard he was welcomed back at Vanderbilt if he wanted to.
He's a good player.
So, yeah.
Listen, wish him the very best. We done?
We're good.
Okay, after the break, we'll talk about the NCAA, and it won't be as negative as it normally is. Stick around. You're listening to The George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5688.
Fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Celebrate Memorial Day weekend at Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf. Don't miss incredible deals like 50% bonus trade-in on all new clubs. Buy any 2 apparel items and receive a 3rd free. And save big on shoes, bags, carts, and travel covers. The more you buy, the more you save. Shop with us this Memorial Day weekend, in-store or online. Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf. Get there.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
A lot of times they will say, well, you didn't play the way we practiced or whatever it is, you didn't execute. How many times have you heard that over the years, Darren? This is going to be different. Brian Callahan is bringing a different philosophy into the building, one that includes talking to players more about what makes them feel comfortable.
The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
We are back. I'm going to read something that got out late last night, and I'll admit I'm a little bit confused, and maybe you all can help me here. The NCAA's Board of Governors voted Wednesday evening, late in the evening, to agree to settlement terms in the House versus NCAA case and related antitrust cases. This according to sources who told ESPN that joining the 3 power conferences thus far in moving forward with a historic change for the way college sports are operated. Okay, now earlier this week, it had gotten out that the smaller conferences were pissed off at the big conferences because the big conferences are trying to dump way more of the payments on the little guys than the little guys think is fair. So y'all help me here. Is this simply the NCAA saying, yeah, we've agreed to ours, but there's nothing about whether the group of 5 types have said we're in with you?
No, this is just the Power 5 conferences so far, and the SEC and still has to vote. Or still has to. They haven't had said their piece yet. And the Pac-12 as well.
Big Ten too, right? Yeah, the Big Ten hadn't voted either, have they? I think it's just the ACC and the Big 12, wasn't it?
So the Big 12 and the
Big
ACC
10 joined them Wednesday.
Yes.
Oh,
So
they did. Okay.
They joined
Correct.
them. Yeah. So it's SEC and Pac-12. They will meet today. Actually, I don't know if they've already met to complete the authorization. Is basically what I understand that to be. So
what does all this mean? Like the Pac-12 is going, I know it's going back to I think it said 2016 is what it was. So what is the big, the Pac-12? They're going up, but I know they're going to have to do this. But I don't understand. I don't understand all this. And we've talked about it before, George, though. The little guy's going to get left out. I mean, that's the way it feels to me. And it's always the little guy that has to bear the brunt too. I mean, they're wanting them to pay up when they're not making as much. So I don't know. It's just big time college sports is what it becomes.
Well, you asked what happens to the Pac-12. They're dead. I mean, they're not a Power 5. It's a Power 4.
They don't even have a phone number.
I mean,
what are you going to have a secretary? Pac-2.
It's the Pac-2.
Pac-2, may we help you?
Yeah, well, that's why people call it the Power 4 instead of the Power 5. At least most people. So, I mean, Pac-12 is now a group of 6. You added another group there.
So, in theory, once payments start being made in this thing, is this this guarantees there will be no litigation from any athlete unions saying we got screwed for 100 million years, we want ours?
Oh yeah, I mean, former player. This is the what's significant about it. Former players who should have and would have profited in this era are now available for that, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I think that's good for everybody. But also just making it more equal, where maybe the SEC and the Big 12 aren't dominating, or not Big 12, Big 10. Maybe they're not, eons ahead of everybody else, even though they probably will be in the long run anyway.
Now look at Kelly.
How much red tape are you going to have to go through though? If you were a guy, say in 2017 that played for somebody, and your name, your image, and your likeness are somewhere, how much are you going to have to? Are you going to have to get lawyered up? I mean, how is this going? They're not just going to give you the money, I'm sure. I mean, how is this going to? It's just like the NFL concussion lawsuit. There's guys like myself who had some concussions when we played. You got a ground to stand on, but there's so much red tape that you got to go through. I mean, is that going to be the same thing for all these kids, all these guys that are trying to go back because the university used their likeness in some form or fashion?
Okay, let me read a couple of things in this because, Billy, I want you to notice, I can read Kelly's mind. The wheels are spinning. Is there something I can fill out to get money? Look at him over there. You can see dollar signs.
Correct.
Those of you watching this, you can see dollar signs in Kelly.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going back to 1990s. I don't think that's going that far back, George.
Yeah.
Well, let me read you what I've got here. By settling, the schools and the NCAA avoid going to trial where they could have been on the hook for damages in excess of $4 billion if they had lost, which legal experts considered a likelihood considering the NCAA's recent poor record in court cases. You think?
That's
According to sources, the plaintiffs will also agree to dismiss two other pending antitrust cases against the NCAA that could have potentially added billions, that's with a B, billions of dollars in damages to an already daunting total. Okay, so Kelly, I see a scenario where you can jump in there and get you some money.
I don't think it goes back. Like how far is this going back though, George? Because the one that I read said it was only going to go back to like 2016. So then, if you only go back to 2016, well, the people like myself or way back when, I'm not going to get upset because it doesn't matter. I mean, I played at Middle a long time ago. My name, image, and likeness were not up on Johnny Red Floyd Stadium. That's for sure.
Yeah, but think about it. I mean, in theory, you knew how to put a noun and a verb together, maybe some pronouns.
Correct.
And you would have been, a quarterback, the big man on campus, dating the cheerleader, the head of the parade.
I was for a little while. I was the big man on campus for a little while.
Right. And so if the big man on campus can put a sentence together, I mean, I see some money here. Now, let me also say this. If you get any money, you're going to buy advertising on the show.
If I get any money, I will buy advertising for the show. We'll have it on billboards around the city and in Murfreesboro for sure.
That
also,
will be so exciting.
The SEC presidents, this just in, and chancellors voted unanimously to authorize the consolidated settlement agreement.
So that just came over the wire.
Yep. So
if
five,
there is such a thing anymore.
Yeah. So now 5 of the 6 listed defendants have now agreed to the settlement. Pac-12 is the last one.
But you're not hearing anything about the little guys, are you?
No. But what about, like, Kelly? What would you say is the best Group of 5 conference right now? Sun Belt.
The Sun Belt. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think the Sun Belt. Why not throw the Sun Belt in this? I mean, Coastal, right? I mean, Troy.
When you say, why not throw the
because
Sun Belt?
They have players making money. Now, it's not as much as the Power 5. And then you'd have to add probably the other Group of 5 schools too.
Every decision that you come to, though, somebody's going to be pissed off. They're going to be upset about it. I mean, that's just the way it was. The deal that I was reading today was the Big Sky. They were upset because they've got Montana State, Idaho, so some of those teams that, they're in the running of the FCS National Championship in football every year. So they're like, this is just unfair because it's disproportionate to the bigger power, the Power 5 conference, which is, if the ACC don't get itself together, it's going to be the Power 3 conference at some point. But, it's just, once again, it's leaving the little guy out.
Now, let me see if I got this right, Billy. You're asking why the Sun Belt isn't included in these conferences.
Well, because I think the Sun Belt in a lot of cases, right? I mean, you could say the Sun Belt is right up there. Obviously, they're better than the Pac-12 right now.
Well, yeah, they have member institutions.
Exactly.
Okay, I mean, they have a pulse.
So you could say the Sun Belt right now could be that 5th team to turn it back into the Power 5.
Have you ever seen the size of stadiums in the Sun Belt? Some of them have stands on both sides.
Have you seen Vanderbilt Stadium?
Many do not.
That was unnecessary.
George, they all have stands on both sides now, Hoss.
You're sure about that?
I mean, hey, look, Arkansas
I am
State.
Sure.
Okay.
Coastal's got a good one. Troy's is nice.
I mean, my point, besides being a smart aleck, is that there's not that kind of money generated.
No, that's true.
There's not.
You're
there's
right.
not. But it's good football, and I think.
I'm not saying it isn't.
And I'm just saying, I don't think the Sun Belt, if there's any conference, because Kelly, if you look at the Sun Belt, how far ahead of the other who's the next best Group of 5 conference? You'd say behind Sun Belt.
I wouldn't even know. Maybe the MAC. I don't even know if it'd be the MAC.
That's not even close to the Sun Belt. I don't think.
Okay, but
maybe
it's
probably the American.
Are we forgetting Conference USA?
Yeah, well, the Conference USA is kind of struggled. I think it's probably the conference of
American.
The American Athletic Conference. I would have to say that would be the second one. Yes, Memphis, Cincinnati. Of course, Cincinnati's leaving, but yes, it's that. You go Sun Belt, American Athletic Conference, then probably Conference USA, then the MAC. Yes.
I think it will probably get to the point where some of those higher group of 5 schools that do generate some money, because we saw with a school like James Madison, they moved all the way up from, what was it, Colonial, and now they're in the Sun Belt. And so,
they're really good.
And who knows?
Yeah, and you look at App State too. App State is, I mean, they have 40,000 people at the place every week. I mean, they're loud, they're raucous. It's a crazy place to play football.
Yeah, and they've got their own NIL collectives too. Now, I know it's not. I'm not talking SEC, Big Ten, but I'm talking. They're getting close with the ACC. They're ahead of the Pac-12 because there's no institutions in that conference. The American. I mean, there's
Billy. Hey, he's going to keep going, George. You know how Billy is. He's going to keep fighting the cause.
I know he is.
I'm just saying, the Sun Belt's a good.
You got to love him for that. You got to love him for that, dude.
When he's getting a job there.
Hey, when he was getting beat down on the football field, you didn't play football, did you, Billy?
5th and 6th grade.
5th and 6th grade. When he was getting beat down, he was one of them try hard fellas. I'm going to do it, Dad. I promise tomorrow I'm going to do it.
That's wonderful. Okay, after the break, got some good news if you're a Vanderbilt basketball fan. Think about it. It's been a great year. We got rid of Jerry Stackhouse. And you know what? The next guy in actually works at this, tries to recruit. What a novel concept. I'll explain more of where I'm going with this when we come back. You're listening to 95.9. This is the George Plaster Show.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Actually, beep. Two things are sure. Beep. Tennessee is going to the Final Four. Beep. And the Nashville Predators, beep, are winning the Stanley Cup. Oh. Beep. Those are my two observations. How about that?
Weekdays 9 to 11, live on WNSR.
Okay, we are back. For those of you who are listening today on 95.9 FM, first of all, thank you for doing that. And those of you in the Smyrna and Murfreesboro area, if you're listening on 107.9, thank you as well. We had been doing a podcast for about 2 years, and that continues. And Billy, how can a person watch on the podcast if they want to see the show, whether it's live or when it's archived, although I have no idea why anyone would want to see us?
Just go to YouTube, search The George Plaster Show if you haven't subscribed yet, and hit that subscribe button, thumbs up, comment. We'll see your questions if you want to pop a comment in there. Also on Twitter, pull up your phone. Usually our tweets pull up, courtesy of intern Ty, does a good job live tweeting. And then you'll also see us on Facebook as well. So, and it's also archived, like you said, George, Apple Podcast, Spotify as well. So a lot of different ways to tune in.
So here's where I'm going. If you've heard the podcast over the last 6 months, you know I was anything but a fan of Jerry Stackhouse. Lazy, disinterested, more concerned with his golf game to the bitter end. You know, the lack of any structure and real work ethic finally brought him down in the 5th year when he had a roster from hell that simply didn't work and didn't have anywhere near enough talent. And yet the night before they made the decision to boot him, he had the nerve in the press conference at the SEC tournament to tell us that, I wish you all had gotten to know me better. Hello, some of that's on you. Anyway, the Stackhouse era is over, thank God. And now we move on to Mark Byington. And it's very obvious quickly, and I had been hearing this all along from coaches in the business. I would say, give me a word to describe this guy, because, you know, until he got hired, I'd never met him. I knew he was at James Madison, and that was about it. And the word I kept getting was he's a grinder, that he will work his fanny off. Well, when he inherited this bunch of junk for a roster, when he took over in early April, he knew he had to get to work huge. They've gotten, Billy, help me with this, 9 players through the transfer portal? 9 times.
9 players.
9 times. And so, look, you know things are out of whack when we have a poll that is simply to tell us what teams have benefited the most in the transfer portal. And one of those came out earlier this week. And look who was number 1.
Look at that.
Little Ricky.
Wow.
Up at St. John's. Larry Bud is not walking through that door. Then Vandy, second in the country. Louisville, Indiana, Missouri, and God knows they needed it. Anybody see them play last year? If any team could use help, it was them.
Yeah.
Michigan, new coach. Kentucky, new coach. Memphis, things don't get better, they'll have a new coach soon. So what do we make of this? What's the, by the way, nice, pretty graphic. Those of you on radio not able to see that, but Billy did a marvelous job with the graphic.
Thank you, George.
You're welcome.
It was very nice of you. Well, we Vanderbilt lost, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys to go to the portal. They lost 9 guys, and they brought in 9 guys. I think
about 3 of whom you might have wanted to keep.
Yeah, I think you would like to have kept Van Allen Lubin. And then Tyron Lawrence, I think, is another guy you might have wanted to keep. And then probably Colin Smith is another guy in there. But everyone else, you know, and you look at the schools they landed. We talked about Lubin today. He's at North Carolina. Tyron Lawrence is at Georgia. Colin Smith.
Which was expected.
Yeah.
I mean, that rumor had been out there for over 2 years that he would end up as a dog.
Yeah, Lee Dort at Cal. Jason Rivera-Torres, San Francisco. So Malik Presley, Texas, kind of surprising. So, but you look out of the guys you lost, you bring in 9 new players. You look at the schools they came from. A lot of Power 5 schools, and pretty much all Power 5 schools other than a couple.
Name them.
A.J. Hogard from Michigan State, 4-star transfer. They got transfer portal rankings now. Alex Hemingway, shooter from Clemson, 3-star. Devin McLaughlin from Boston College. Tyler Nickel from Virginia Tech. Jason Edwards from North Texas. M.J. Collins from Virginia Tech. Jalen Carey from JMU, who Mark Byington was at. Grant Huffman from Davidson, which is technically Group of 5, but still a good player. Kajani Wright from USC, and Chris Mannon from Cornell. So 7 of those 9 players are all from Power 5 schools.
Kelly, it's hard to know what it means until they put them all out on the court, and are they able to mesh fairly quick as a unit? There's no way we can know. Now, the smart aleck in me is, well, at least we've got a coach trying.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say when y'all were talking about all this. I think that was one of the things that the old coach was talking about. You just can't get it done here. You just can't get it done. Well, obviously, Mark Byington is not buying into that because he's second in the rankings in the transfer portal. So he can do it, and you can get guys in here, and I think it's great, George. I really do. And if he's a grinder, which you say he is, it looks like he is. I just remember, and I've said it, before we got on the radio, but I've said it so many times. I just remember growing up and watching Vandy basketball and how good they were, and the tradition there in Memorial Gym. And it's good to see. Hopefully you can get it back. But it's just like the NFL draft or the Major League draft or any of the drafts that you look. You think you're getting a guy that is going to come in and do well. Well, you're always going to have misses, and you're always going to have guys not play like you think they are. So, he's got 9 guys. Can they, cohesively get together, come together? We'll see. But he's doing it, and it can be done. Obviously, he's showing that it can be done at Vanderbilt.
Billy, I had been told by a high school coach in South Carolina who knew of him, because I guess at some point he may have recruited one of his kids. I said, give me a description of him. And he threw out not only grinder, relentless recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what this program needed badly. This program was being run out of McCabe Golf Course. And it pissed Vanderbilt fans off more and more when I put it out there in early February that Stackhouse had the nerve to take his golf clubs on trips where they were going to play somebody. People were up in arms like, are you kidding? And I was like, it's been going on since day one.
Mark Byington has done more in 3 months than Jerry Stackhouse did in 5 years. That's what we're looking at here. I know Stack ended up getting Tyron Lawrence, who was good for him, but there wasn't any consistency at all. If Byington does this every offseason, Vanderbilt's going to be a consistent tournament team and competing, for championship. With the money they're putting in and the players, now they've got this has to pan out.
But remember this, in fairness, you would assume they're not going to have to go get 9 every year.
That's true.
That's not a recipe for
But he knew he had continuity. He had to do this to put something out there and prove to future recruits, high school recruits, other portal guys that he can win. If he brings in 9 random players from different Power 5 schools and gets this team even close to the tournament, I think this program will be fine. He'll be able to attract talent. But what I got annoyed with over the last 3-4 months, and even in the hiring process, was that Vanderbilt in this era, it's just, I don't know that they can compete in this NIL transfer portal era. Well, Mark Byington is proving that they can, and they will. The money is there. You have to have the right people in place to use the money. You're in Nashville. Why not? And so I got really tired. I heard a lot of that from Vanderbilt people, too, saying, I don't know. I don't know about Vanderbilt in this NIL transfer portal era. Well, Mark Byington has come in and proven that it can be done.
But it gives you guys, as Vanderbilt alum, it gives you guys hope. With Stackhouse, there was no hope. Like, there was an apathy with the program, just like mine here at Middle. Nobody wants to go to the game. Nobody cared about it. It was the same old, and that's what was happening at Vanderbilt. And I think he's come in set the world on fire. Now, I mean, it remains to be seen if he's going to win, which I think he probably will, which everything you hear about him, he's a really good recruiter and he's a really good basketball coach. So, but it gives you guys hope, and it gives people that are willing to, we're sitting on the sideline with money with the old coach saying, hey, man, I'm willing to do this. You're going to have more people in the stands. Everybody's going to come and get a litmus test. Everybody, you don't have to win every game. You guys know this. You don't have to win every game, but the people in the stands want to see your team compete. They want to see them fight. And if they're doing that and he's doing that, he'll get Vanderbilt basketball where it's supposed to be.
A consistently fun product. That's
Yep.
I think that's all a lot of people are asking.
Look, I don't wish Jerry Stackhouse ill will in his future. I hope that he goes on, whether it's in the NBA or at another college. I hope he does well, but I hope he learns some lessons. Number one is this is a tough job. You got to work at it. And if you're going to take that NBA attitude of, I got $60 million in the bank, I don't need this, you're screwing over a school. He screwed over Vandy. And then at the end, never has a coach been rewarded more for screwing over a school with a lack of work ethic than this guy.
Well, and how ironic, the $20 million gift that was just given, Jerry Stackhouse's buyout was in the range of $20 million.
Yeah.
So I thought
Kinda
that was kind of ironic.
Okay, so I guess the phone we heard in the background, that wasn't Jerry, was it?
No, he won't be calling you anytime soon.
Kelly,
I
was
can't
that
wait till I
phone-
meet him. I can't wait till I meet him one day. I'm going to tell him all about how George talks about him.
Yeah. You're so kind. What a great teammate you are.
I can't wait.
Okay. When we come back, we'll kind of let you know what we're going to do during the 5 o'clock hour, because we are bringing on the best of the best. If you have never heard Danny Evans before, over the last couple of years, the people that have watched this by way of podcast, they know nobody talks baseball better. Anyway, we'll go to the break. You're listening to the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Okay, picture this. It's Friday afternoon when a thought hits you. I can spend another weekend doing the same old whatever, or I can hop into my all-new Hyundai Santa Fe and hit the road. With available H-Track all-wheel drive and 3-row seating, my entire family can head deep into the wild. Conquer the weekend in the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details. Hyundai, there's joy in every journey.
Before we end the hour, Kelly, you'll be thrilled to know that Stat of the Day will return next week.
I was wondering where Stat of the Day's been, but you know what? I'll be honest with you, I haven't missed it.
You know,
is that a bad thing?
Well, part of it is because we never get it right.
Yeah, because we suck at it.
We do. We've gotten old and decrepit. So let me kind of tell people what we're going to do in the 5 o'clock hour. Danny Evans is the former general manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. If you go back years 2000 to about 2004. Before that, he was an assistant general manager for like 22 years with the Chicago White Sox and dealt with Michael Jordan a ton when he decided to go baseball. Anyway, Danny joins us every Thursday during the 5 o'clock hour. We will open up the phones at 5:30 for your baseball questions. And I want some questions from y'all because I know this is an audience that in the past has been willing to talk some baseball. I love talking baseball, and I hope that some of you will respond and hit the phones. First thing we'll do when we come back at 5:03 is go down to Hoover Met and find out what Tennessee did or didn't do in Game 2 today against Texas A&M. A loss would eliminate the Vols. A victory would definitely keep them going.
Keeping the people on their toes.
Absolutely. So Vandy, Mississippi State tonight, 8 o'clock, you think?
That's approximately. It'll probably be a little bit later, depending on how this LSU-South Carolina game goes.
Yeah.
But, they never start on time, although it hasn't rained down there at all, which I don't know if – Billy could probably say better in between games or at night, but, it's been nice down there.
Yeah, so it hadn't been nice here.
No.
Kelly, have you watched any of the SEC baseball tournament?
Set it on there a little bit last night and watched a little bit, but, I was watching basketball. I was watching Kyrie go crazy on Anthony Edwards after Anthony Edwards called him out. And Kyrie, you were talking about how he don't have it, but last night he had it because he scored 30 and Luka Duka scored 33.
Somebody must have given him the film of me saying that I didn't think he was as good in the last series, because last night is the best I've seen Kyrie Irving in a long time. And if he plays to that level, they got a shot.
He's got to be aggressive.
Got to do it every game, though.
Yeah. Or at least 4 out of 7.
Yeah.
Anyway, hour number 1 is done. We're coming back in about 3 minutes, and then we'll go right to the Hoover Met in Birmingham, Alabama.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Thunderstorms in the east have caused some flight delays, some cancellations on this first day of what the TSA predicts will be the first of 2 busiest ever air travel days. Philadelphia International Airport spokesperson Heather Redfern.
Security lines have been busy all day long, but they're moving. The TSA is getting people through at PHL.
The Justice Department and 30 state attorneys general filing an antitrust lawsuit.
It's time to restore competition and innovation in the entertainment industry. It is time to break up Live Nation Ticketmaster. The American people are ready for it.
Attorney General Merrick Garland, Live Nation denies the anti-competitive allegations. The Supreme Court's conservative majority has preserved a Republican-held South Carolina congressional district, rejecting a lower court ruling that said it discriminated against black voters. This is ABC News.
From grown-worthy dad jokes to patching up skinned knees, your one-of-a-kind dad deserves a gift guaranteed to take him to his happy place. Show him the love with a gift as unforgettable as he is. Omaha Steaks. Order the deluxe Father's Day gift package at omahasteaks.com. 20 unforgettable entrees plus 4 free burgers for just $89.99 when you use promo code QUALITY at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, code QUALITY at checkout.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. That's 800-649-0142.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. From the Nashville Sports Radio Media Complex. Welcome back to the George Plaster Show. Call George now at 615-844-5600 and online at WNSR.com. And now, George Plaster.
Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown, Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Kelly Holcomb, along with Gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
And we welcome all of you into the second hour of the show. Glad to have you with us on what has turned into a sunny day. I can't believe it. There is sunshine out there as we broadcast from the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue. In about 2 minutes, you'll hear from Danny Evans, who can talk baseball with the best of them, period. But first, we go down to the Hoover Met, a suburb of Birmingham. It's where the SEC baseball tournament is going on. Our Billy Jones is there live. Billy, tell us what's going on today.
Tennessee finishes out 7-4, a win over Texas A&M in an elimination game. Earlier today, Kentucky eliminates Arkansas with a 9-6 victory in game number 1 of the day. Later tonight, South Carolina and LSU. And then, of course, Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. Tennessee with a pair of home runs today. Kavaris Tears was excellent. As I mentioned earlier, was a triple shy of the cycle. He was dynamite behind the plate. Tennessee rolled with, the starting pitching that's worked for them in game 1s this year. They went with Chris Stamos and A.J. Causey, and then turned to Kirby Cannell to finish the job today. Impressive performance from Tony Vitello and company. He said he wanted to figure some stuff out with pitching this week. Still think there's some questions, but big win today. And then you obviously give yourself another look tomorrow, which is just as important.
So, Billy, real quick, you think Drew Beam tomorrow for Tennessee?
I would imagine. I mean, he's been the second option for them in day 2 of series. I imagine he gets a look. We've seen coaches so far, that whose teams have not had as much to play for, have pulled their starters relatively quickly. So it may be 2 or 3 innings for Beam instead of 5 or 6, but I'd imagine he gets the ball tomorrow.
So Tennessee, with the win, stays alive. Who do they play tomorrow and when?
They'll get the loser of Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. Should be sometime around 7:30 or 8 o'clock.
Okay. Listen, we'll check back in with you at the very end of the hour. Another great report. Billy, thanks as always.
Thank you, George.
University of Missouri.
MIZ.
Well represented. Billy Jones, he's going to get a Tiger diploma one of these days soon. Okay, we've ballyhooed him before he ever got in here today because we got a new radio audience through 95.9 FM, and of course in Smyrna and in Murfreesboro on 107.9, we say hello to the great and clean-shaven Danny Evans.
Wow. Pretty much. Not there's just a little stubble here, boys and girls, and one of my favorite hats too.
What's that all about?
That's the Motorboaters of Bismarck in the Northwoods League. What a great hat!
What a name!
It's just a great hat. I love it.
Only you would know it.
There's about 300 in the collection, George. So
I believe it.
Yeah, it's scary.
But the difference between yours and what Nick the Stick used to wear, he wore some of the rattiest stuff. Yes, It looked like it'd never been washed.
Yeah, only the best headwear for this gentleman right here.
Okay, I want to start. I want to get your opinion on how scouts right now, as they're watching all these college tournaments, go at it. And in particular, there are 2 guys in the SEC that have lit it up. Charlie Condon at Georgia is on a pace. If it were a 162-game Major League season, he'd hit like 110 homers. And then the guy Caglione at Florida is right behind him. But you also have all these whispers, Danny, about bats that are juiced up, and I don't know how they do it, and I don't really care. I just know that you hear that a lot. So how do scouts try to judge what's really what with these guys?
Well, first of all, George, that's a great question. And I think there is a lot of talk about offense in the college game right now. But I think it really lends itself to a conversation about the changes in the draft. When Major League Baseball went from an unlimited draft to 40 rounds to 20 rounds and eliminated minor league teams to the point where now there's only 120 minor league teams. I think what you have now is a large number of draft choices being collegiate players. The high school kids don't get picked anymore unless they're elite, high, big number guys who are going to forego college only if they get a large signing bonus. As a result, we're getting kids that are playing 3 to 6 years because of COVID. We have maturity we've never seen at the collegiate game before. And I think it's not a lively ball. To me, what you're seeing is you're seeing mature hitters migrate into the college game deep. You know, the 2 kids you mentioned, they're going to be playing in the big leagues for a long time. Condon might be the first pick in the country. I saw him in the Northwoods League 2 years ago, and he is going to be one heck of a good player. But I think what we have here clearly is the college game has really evolved in the last, I'd say, 3 to 5 years. And as a result, SEC fans and college baseball fans are seeing some great young hitters that, George, are getting to the big leagues quickly, which is also an indication that the college game is not that far behind the pro game anymore.
Okay, that's a really interesting point you're putting out there. Is the SEC, is it AA baseball?
You know what I would say? It's probably between A and AA, and that's a heck of a compliment. Well, what you're really getting, George, is you're getting accountability because you're getting a huge crowd for almost every game, and the fans are, very discerning in their love of the game in the SEC. You don't have a lot of casual baseball fans at the ballpark, and that's something I've always loved about the SEC. I mean, the SEC tournament in Hoover is a blast to go see. I was actually at the first game ever played at the Hoover Met when it was a White Sox affiliate. But I think what we're seeing in the SEC is elite prospects and elite deep teams. I mean, look at the tournament right now. Look at the teams that are in the consolation round. I mean, those are some of the better teams in the country. So what we see in the SEC is just so different than most of the other collegiate baseball conferences, just because the teams are not only deep, but they're competitive. And I think as a result, fans are really being treated to great baseball in that area.
This may be unfair, and you may not have seen him much. The kid at Tennessee, is it Christian Moore?
Yeah.
What? Give us a thumbnail sketch if you've seen much.
George, my whole career, I've been very careful not to say anything about a guy that I haven't seen in person or haven't seen a ton of video on. I know what he's doing. I know it's a special player. But for me, accountability is a big deal. I know, given my history and given my career, anointing somebody really well or crushing somebody can be, very inappropriate, but also very inaccurate. So I can't say that I've seen him in person, and subsequently I would rather not talk about him.
Okay, earlier today, speaking of kids making, these meteoric rises.
Yeah.
I watched, and I know you did, Paul Skeens today, the former LSU great for Pittsburgh. And Danny, he looks totally ready.
George, that's his third start in the big leagues. And don't be deceived by his strikeout total. If you're a fan and you're looking, he gave up 6 scattered hits. There was 1 hard hit ball hit off of him in 90-plus pitches over 6 innings, and it was caught. All the base hits were jam jobs, end of the bat, opposite field. So impressive. Oh, and the command on his fastball is so good. Your Bravos get a break this weekend. They don't get them against the Pirates. But I think what we're seeing, George, and, this is a good example. And we talked about him last week. If you remember, Kelly asked a really good question about Paul Skeens. Skeens a year ago is playing for LSU and is dominating across the country. And SEC fans got to see him. This kid a year later is dominating big league bats. He's going to easily be one of the elite pitchers in the game, and I think it's a wonderful draft pick by the Bucks, because what you have is a number 1 starter who's just going to get better. I mean, the command, the stuff, the repertoire. He pitches in and out. I mean, he's able to get inside of lefties and righties. And I know you watched today, but also, Smith Shawver today looked great for the Braves. He had great stuff. He jumped inside on guys. He got in on their hands. I think what we saw was a couple really good young starting pitchers. And for that matter, a third one with the Cubs starter, Brown, who looked really good.
I'm glad you got to see it. I sure as hell didn't.
Yeah. You have to live about 700 miles away to see that game.
Absolutely. So let me ask this one thing, then we'll go to the break. Kelly will kind of take over, and then we'll open up the phones. The Phillies have jumped into a nice lead over the Braves. I think it's at 5. I couldn't swear to that, but it's somewhere close to that. Are the Phillies that good, or are they also a little bit of a product of they've really had kind of a cupcake schedule since the start of the season? Very few teams over 500.
Good question, George. They've actually played the easiest schedule in baseball to this day. Baseball Reference, I'm an ambassador for them, so I have to give them a plug. But their opponent's win-loss record is the lowest of any team. They're hot. They won 5 in a row. They're swinging the bat well. Their run differential is great. It was a 6-game difference between the Bravos and the Phillies entering today's game. But I think for the Braves to sputter like they have offensively, yet stick around because of their starting pitching, I think the Phillies are a really good club. And I think what we saw last year is they got hot in mid-May and played great the rest of the year. I think what we have is 2 of the 3 or 4 best teams in baseball in one division. And I think it's going to be a great race. And I think just because there's a 5 or 6 game deficit right now, I don't think the Phillies are going to run away because I don't think the Braves are going to let them. I think we're going to see one of the best divisional races we've seen in recent years. George, there's so much on the line because instead of playing a wild card play-in, you're talking about home field advantage and a bye. That is a lot to play for in October.
Okay, after the break, Kelly will get in some questions with Danny Evans, but we'll also open up the phone lines for you to ask some questions to Danny. And I'm hoping some of you out there who love baseball will jump in at 615-844-5600. Again, 615-844-5600. Give or take a minute or two. Around 5:30, we will open up those phones. You are listening to The George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Nashville, get ready for the greatest show on turf. Electrifying, high-octane, non-stop spring football action. Starting at only $30. Don't miss the season opener this April 27th at Municipal Auditorium.
Hi, I'm Jeff Fisher. The Nashville Cats are bringing arena football back to Nashville.
Grab your tickets now at thenashvillecats.com and be part of the action.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com
or call them at 615-824-5688.
They have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
Atlanta Braves baseball is back, and the battle for a 7th straight division title is officially on.
Hit high and deep to left center. This has got a chance. Gone! Another home run for Olsen. He smokes another one. He lit the fuse on this bomb, and that's gone.
Listen to every pitch live, exclusively on your home for Atlanta Braves baseball. WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
Thank you for being with us on this Thursday afternoon from our studios at the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue. If you're watching, Kelly Holcomb's in the middle and the clean-shaven Danny Evans talking baseball on the right. Give or take a few minutes, around 5:30, I want you to jump in on the phones with your baseball questions. 615-844-5600. Kelly, say hello to Danny.
Danny, you got a cap on today, man. I've never seen that. I like it.
I know, Cap. You know, I'm sorry, Kelly. I should have asked permission beforehand, but I've been trying to get a bunch of stuff done this afternoon, and the hat had to be used because otherwise, let's just say we had a radio face.
I got you. So let me ask you this, and you know, everybody's talking about the SEC tournament right now. If you're the Tennessee Vols, if you're the Kentucky Wildcats, if you're these teams that are really good, and Tennessee's number one in the country, they got pummeled by Vanderbilt last night. How, as a coach in the major leagues, but how, as a coach, do you, because the prize is on, they've already won the regular season championship. How do you keep those guys motivated to do something in the SEC tournament? Because they already know that they're going to host a regional. So the ball's kind of in their court. How do you keep those guys motivated to stay in the game?
It's a really good question, Kelly. You know, I'd ordinarily say professional pride, but even though there's NIL now, I don't think you want to say that. Winning the SEC tournament's a big deal. It's a big deal for kids, players to win it. But as a coach, it's just like if you've clinched think about this, when you were QBing, if you had already clinched a playoff berth and you had one more regular season game to play, everybody's worried about staying healthy. Everybody's worried about how are we going to look when it really matters. And as a coach, and really as an assistant coach, you really need to keep the players not only motivated but focused, because it's when you're not focused is when you get hurt. Plus, you don't know who you're going to play when it comes to the NCAA tournament. And as a result, it's really imperative for the starting pitcher and for the position players to be ready when the gates open for the NCAA playoffs. And I think, Kelly, it's just one of those double-edged swords. You come in hot, you know you're in, you know you're going to host, but then you have to play this tournament This happens during the NCAA basketball season too. And, we see teams get outed in the first and second round of conference tournaments. But what usually happens is those teams sputter when they get into the NCAA round ball tournament. So baseball's a very funky game when it comes to momentum, when it comes to starting pitching. So Kelly, to fully answer your question, you got to ride them a little bit right now. Ride them, but also allow the senior players and the upperclassmen to navigate the focus and navigate the attention span of the players around them.
Okay, so I got two oddball questions for you. I've always got these oddball questions. So I've been thinking about this ever since you've been on here. But since you've been a general manager, talk about the relationship that you have with or you being the head of the organization. Talk about the relationship that you have with a manager. And were there any times where you and the manager had conflicts, or you didn't like the manager, or y'all just did not get along? Is there any issues that come to mind when you think of something like that?
Sure, absolutely, Kelly. It's a really good question. I think looking back, there were times during my career where the people who were the field manager didn't have the exact opinion at the exact same time as I did about how to play the game. But when you hire somebody to be your manager, or you keep them employed as your manager, you're also keeping their philosophical beliefs. And one of the things I learned, I'd say in the middle of my career, Kelly, is that, I'm not making out the lineup card. I'm not making the changes. I'm not making the substitutions in the bullpen, pinch hitting, hit and runs. I'm a little bit more aggressive than most when it comes to baseball. I like to hit and run. I like to steal. I like to be really aggressive, letting starting pitchers go deeper into the game. And I also feel, and Kelly, I think you'll appreciate this as somebody who played, I don't think you can ever discount the value of a win. I would rather win tonight and worry about tomorrow. And I had a couple managers, one in particular, who would play it kind of safety first sometimes, worrying about tomorrow or the next day. So what I developed over the course of my career, very honestly for the listeners, is I would go in after the game before the media came in, and I would say something like this: Kelly, just tell me what your thinking was about that situation in the 8th inning. And I'd stop right there, because I know the media is coming in. I want him to think it through, but I also want to hear why he did what he did. There was one time in particular, I remember a manager didn't bring a closer in at a time, and he had him warming up, and it was a very delicate part of the playoff race, and he didn't bring him in, and I was pretty disappointed. I think there's other words for that. And I came in and I just said, all right, before the media comes in, tell me why you did what you did, because they're going to ask you that same question. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not comfortable with what occurred. And I think, Kelly, part of the thing, when you're at the top, you have to give people the chance to do their jobs. You have to give people the chance to fail and then judge them accordingly. And I think if you're a micromanager, if you're a controller, then they're not really in charge. So I always had a very open discussion. I would usually include the coaches in the conversation, so it wasn't bullying, because the numbers actually even things out, because, all the managers, lieutenants are all there. But I think in a healthy organization, you confront things like that head on, and you move forward as you make those decisions.
Okay, so here's my last oddball question. I was reading something today, and I don't think it mattered back in the old days. Probably didn't think about it, but now with the day of analytics and everything is up, does a hitting coach actually talk about a 2-strike approach? Yes. Because I was looking at the analytics today, and I was looking at some of the, what some of these guys are swinging, 71, 72 miles per hour, and then their 2-strike approach goes down to 67. I mean, some of them are dropping that low. So is there a 2-strike approach in the game today?
Kelly, great question. Outstanding question. I think what we've learned in the last 10 days as the bat metrics have come out through StatHead and Baseball Savant, is yes, in fact, most hitters do have a two-strike approach. The hitters that don't, well, they're just gripping and ripping, and their strikeout rates are usually 28 to 40%. And you get what you think about. If you go up there with very little focus and no game plan, big league pitchers are going to get you out. But yeah, what we're seeing, Kelly, is guys shortening up their stroke, covering the plate, really being a more direct route to the ball, which, candidly makes for better contact, better use of the opposite field, and fighting off a lot of really good pitches. And I think, it's really funny to see the metrics point out what we thought was happening, but you couldn't measure it until you got the StatHead information about a week ago.
So, it's early in the season still. What do you think about is it the Yamamoto guy? What do you think about the guy at LA? I mean, we talking so much about Shohei Ohtani, and I hadn't heard, I know you've talked about him. You were talking about him before he came in, but what are your first thoughts on what kind of pitcher he is and what he's going to be?
Oh, I love him. I love him, Kelly. I loved him when I saw his first game as a pro. He was a 19-year-old pitching for the Oryx Blue Wave, and I'm just like, whoa, what do we have here? I need some information on this kid. He's a 5-pitch guy with tremendous command. He's got 80 command using the North American ball, which, Kelly, is a very different ball than the Japanese ball. He's transitioning in the big leagues at 25, 26 years of age. He had a really bad outing his first game in Korea. For some reason, he just wasn't right, and that's going to happen. And that really has eradicated his ERA. I mean, his ERA is just awful, except for that. But he's still in the low threes. Dominant stuff, great fastball split, curveball slider. He's real good. He's going to be a candidate for the Cy Young Award. And his former Team Japan teammate, Imanaga, is even more dominant and has been outstanding for the Cubs. So I think those two guys are candidates for Rookie of the Year. One of the two of them might win. Imagine those two and schemes for the next 120 games. One of them is going to win that award.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm told we're ready on our end. We have loaded lines for Danny. Danny, I don't know if you ever remember this. In my old radio days, I came up with one of the dumbest comments. I would call it a car phone. And people even now will razz me. So I'm dying. If somebody after these 3 calls will call in while you're driving, I want to be able to say so-and-so on a car phone. Yeah,
it'll get emotional, right, George?
It's a little cheesy. Let's go to Silas in Bellevue. Silas, welcome in.
Hey, first off, just want to thank y'all for taking my call. Secondly, you mentioned Baseball Reference earlier. My question would be, with this whole Moneyball era ushering in, obviously while you were in Major League Baseball, helped the Oakland A's, Red Sox, teams like that, how much do statistics go into like a day-to-day operation for a general manager? Signing players, moving them up and down, cutting them, just day-to-day versus, seeing the player on the field, getting a feel for their talent. Thank y'all.
Cyrus, really good question. I think dating back to Branch Rickey 75 years ago, general managers, decision makers in baseball have always used statistics. It's just more public now. And many of the stats that they use are stats that you and I get on Baseball Reference, Fangraphs, Baseball Savant. What they're trying to do is they're trying to minimize the risk and eliminate the subjectivity within the game. And, candidly, some teams rely on them more than others. But Cyrus, every team, all 30 big league teams, all the SEC teams, all the really good baseball programs across the world, they're all using analytics, their gut, their scouting feel. You incorporate all of those into your decision making.
We now have a line open. I want somebody who's out there driving around listening to the show to jump in right now with your baseball question for Danny at 615-844-5600. Tony in Nolensville, you are up next.
Good afternoon, guys. Danny, 2 or 3 years ago was the last time I talked to you and couldn't see you. Now I'm able to talk to you and hear you and see you. And so Georgia's high end of technology has really come forward. I think Kelly's pushed him on that.
Kelly hadn't done squat. Kelly's influence
any of that,
has been
I promise.
zero.
Kelly, when we think George, we think tech themed, don't we?
I'm absolutely tech
We think
themed.
zero.
I'm sorry, George, I had to throw that in there, buddy.
I don't blame you.
Danny, coming up in June is the Rickwood Birmingham Classic. That is going to take the place of this year of the Field of Dreams. I'm trying to work on my tickets to get down there to that. It's going to be the Cardinals and the Giants playing, and it's all going to be circulating around the Juneteenth, and I believe Willie Mays' birthday. I think he'll be 93, and they're going to celebrate the Negro League. What role did you have putting that all together, and can you maybe elaborate a little bit more on what's going to happen with that going on down there? I thought it was going to be tied in with a minor league game. So I'm going to listen to you, but, man, it's good talking to you again, Danny.
Well, Tony, thank you.
George.
Thanks for calling, and thanks for giving George a hard time. That's always wonderful.
That is great.
The Rickwood Field game is the 20th of June. It's the Cards and the Giants, and candidly, I love Rickwood Field. I was there quite a bit in the early to mid 80s when it was a White Sox farm team. I told George a fun story. One of my first games there, I saw Randy Johnson pitch, came out, and all 4 tires were off my rental car. So as a friend of mine said that night, you'll never forget the first time you saw Randy Johnson pitch in the minor leagues. Well, that's true, because I'll never forget coming out to see my axles on my car very exposed. I think it's going to be a great game. Major League Baseball did a great job taking one of the Negro League sites, Rickwood Field, where the Birmingham Black Barons, who included Willie Mays, to play, and I think it's great. I had nothing to do with it. I wish I had, but this was a great move by Major League Baseball. The field looks special. I've seen some photos, and I think it's going to be really great. And I know the Barons are participating, helping out with the whole situation. I was trying to figure out a way to get down there, but that day I have a conflict, and I'm just so darn disappointed because I really wanted to do it. But for the fans, if you can finagle a ticket to see that game, that is one of the oldest ballparks in North America and just a fabulous place.
And I'm told that the ticket prices are enormous to get in because it's, 10,000 seat park?
Yeah, and it's great. You know what? It's been really kept well by the Friends of Rickwood Field. They, by the way, have a couple of great social media sites and a website. Kelly, this is where some of the greatest players in the game played, whether they were minor league players or Negro League players. I mean, Satchel Paige, Willie Mays, Henry Aaron, Ernie Banks. If you were a big league player, Josh Gibson played there. I know Ruth played there. So it's really a cool story, and I applaud Major League Baseball for doing it. And as I told Tony, I wish I had something to do with it, but I had absolutely nothing to do with it.
Hey, Danny, I need to go to the break, and then I need you to stick around because I got 3 more phone calls for you.
Outstanding. Great to hear from the fans.
Yeah, I've got one line that's open. I want somebody on a car phone to jump in at 615-844-5600. More of your phone calls for Danny Evans. You're listening to The George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Cats back to consistently competing for natties.
We're being incredibly active in the transfer portal. We're going to have mostly guys willing to come here and understand what it means to wear the Kentucky uniform. This is bigger than themselves. That's going to be a pathway for guys to hang banners, to go have incredible careers in the NBA, and a pathway for guys to build a legacy as the greatest basketball program in the country.
Jim Rome is here weekdays 11 to 2 on Nashville Sports Radio, WNSR.
Okay, we are back at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. Our man Danny Evans, who can talk baseball as good as any human being on the planet, with us every Thursday during this hour. We're going to take a couple of more phone calls for him. Let's start with Nate in Franklin, Tennessee. Nate, welcome in.
How you doing, guys?
We're good.
What's up, Nate?
What's up? How y'all doing? Hey, I have a question for Danny. What team or player has surprised you the most so far this season? I know we're only like 50 or so games in, but what current player has surprised you or team the most this season?
Well, I'd put two guys or three guys out there. First of all, Christian Yelich looks like he's back with the Brewers. He's playing great. Julio Rodriguez, J-Rod with Seattle. I'm just really surprised that he has not been his usual self. But a guy who still dominates. And the third guy would be Oakland's Miller, their closer, who is absolutely unbelievably good. He's 100 to 103 miles an hour. I was trying to watch as much of the Oakland-Colorado game this afternoon, hoping to see him close. It's a really good question. And I think the other thing is Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt Jr. has evolved into one of the 5 or 6 best players in the game this year. And what a treat to watch him play every day.
On the flip side, would we go Astros' biggest disappointment?
I think the Astros, George, I think
Cincinnati.
Yeah, the Reds are a club that have sputtered. I think, Toronto's been awful. I mean, just awful. And they're going to probably have a fire sale when it comes out. And the other thing, and I know they're playing well right now, the Cardinals just don't make sense to me. I don't know why they haven't figured it out. They're playing a little better right now, and they're starting to migrate closer to 500. But I sure thought that wasn't going to be the case in 2024.
No, they've gone cheap, and their fans deserve better than that. It's the best fan base in America, and I don't understand what's going on there. But eventually some heads are going to roll if that continues.
Yeah, there's accountability in that market, and George, you're right. Those are the best fans in the game.
Yeah.
It's an experience. Kelly, I don't know if you've ever been to Busch Stadium, but it's an incredible experience to see a baseball game, particularly a weekend game in St. Louis. It's like a religious experience, quite honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the best baseball city in America. Let's go Isaiah on line 3 here in Nashville. Isaiah, welcome in. Say hello to Danny Evans.
Well, hello there. I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isaiah.
I have 2 questions today. One is what logo's on your hat there, and the second one is what is your take on the Shohei scandal?
Okay, so the hat.
Show them the. Yeah. Okay, what is that again?
It's the Bismarck Larks of the Northwoods League. They have a weekend every year where they goof around, and they call themselves another team. So they became the Bismarck Motorboaters, and for me, it's one of the most fun hats I've ever seen. And I'm a cap guy, so I talked to their owner when I was there last year and said, "Come on, dude, you got to get me a hat." So it's fun. Good question, Isaiah. And then what was your second question, Isaiah? I apologize.
My second question was, what is your take on
the Shohei Ohtani scandal?
Yeah, I don't think it's a Shohei Ohtani scandal. I think it's a gambling scandal within baseball that really didn't include Ohtani. It included his interpreter, some other people in the Angels organization, but Ohtani has not been implicated in any way. I happen to know him pretty well. I would be stunned if he's involved in any way. And the charges have already been brought to his former interpreter. And I think what we're seeing is the feds are all over it, and he's never been implicated. And guys, you know what? To have the year he's having right now, given how that disrupted, basically earthquaked his early part of the season, just shows the remarkable focus and athletic skills this guy has.
Danny, how did you get to know him?
You know what? I scouted him, George, in high school, up outside of Sendai, and then scouted a great deal in the Pacific Rim throughout the course of his career in Japan. Got to know him well enough to know he's one heck of a good man. He's the best player I've ever seen, and he's the most intriguing and most interesting guy I think I've ever seen in a baseball field. So I have a lot of respect for him as a person, as a work ethic guy. His instincts are unbelievable, and he is a great teammate.
And you thought all along he had a chance to be this good.
I did. I wrote a report in 2013, George, where I thought he was going to be Hall of Fame caliber, the best player in the game. My report said a perennial MVP candidate, and I got a hard time from some old school people because they said, oh, he's a two-way player. We don't do that. He's from Japan. And I just kept telling people, well, this is one of those. I think I'm right.
And as I tell people right.
Well, as I tell people in my class, George, when you think you're right, tell everybody, because if you're wrong, they're going to tell you anyway.
Well said. Danny, you have a good weekend. Thank you as always. We'll keep taking some phone calls for you. I think
it's terrific. I love it, George. The only problem is we didn't get the car phone guy.
I know.
And I might have to set that up through a friend of mine. Kelly, maybe you and I can do that. We have a car phone guy call and ask George
a question. We can get that done.
Nick from heaven, go ahead.
Very nice. Good luck in Pittsburgh this weekend, George.
Gonna need it. Danny, thank you.
Bye, guys.
See you,
Danny
brother.
Evans, man, he is terrific. The guy knows more baseball than any human being I have ever been around. After the break, we will go back out to the Hoover Met in the suburbs of Birmingham, site of this year's SEC baseball tournament. Vandy plays Mississippi State later tonight. Not a lot of people thought they would get there. Tennessee has already won today against A&M. Billy Jones will have all the particulars when we come back. You're listening to the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in a car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family. And she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Here's Stan Harrison for Apple Collision Centers.
Hello, George. We at Apple Collision Centers understand the stress that auto body repair process can put in your day-to-day lives. We at Apple Collision Centers, we have 3 convenient locations, Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, ready to serve you. You can stop by and get an estimate, or you can get one online at www.applecollisioncenters.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
And now, Caesars Plumbing and Mechanical LLC is reminding motorists to slow down on our roadways. Keep an eye out for kids at play and never text and drive. This message is brought to you by veteran-owned and operated Caesars Plumbing and Mechanical LLC, serving up to a 50-mile radius from Nashville. For residential or commercial septic and plumbing installations, repairs, service, and construction, give the pros a call today and ask about their veteran and first responder discounts. 615-295-5359, 615-295-5359, or visit CaesarsPlumbing.com.
Okay, before we get out of here, we're going to go to Birmingham. Game 3 of today's SEC baseball tournament going on at this moment between South Carolina and LSU. Billy Jones joins us from the Hoover Met. What's going on in Game 3?
Yeah, through 2.5. What LSU leads 1-0. Stephen Milam with RBI signatures. He's busted on the team this year, especially as of late. Thatcher Hurd on the mound for LSU has been amazing. 2 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts. I mean, if he can pitch this way as the number 3 guy with, what Luke Holman and Gage Jump have been able to do, and this LSU team is looking pretty scary. Loser of this game will play Kentucky tomorrow, who beat Arkansas 9-6 in the first game of the day. Earlier, we saw Tennessee take down Texas A&M 7-4. They stay alive, and then later tonight, as we mentioned earlier, Vanderbilt and Mississippi State set to go.
Okay, tell me a little bit about Mississippi State's pitching plan. You gave me a name earlier that I don't even want to try to spell.
Durangelo Shanja. He's come onto the scene for Mississippi State this year. He's a switch pitcher. Incredibly unique challenge for Vanderbilt this year. He's been a big part of Mississippi State's success in conference play. They got 2 starting pitchers in the top 10 of the SEC in ERA. We saw Stephen Cowell last night. He's the second. Just not only is he an incredibly tough challenge for hitters, but it's just the uniqueness of the approach. Throws up near 98 with the left and you're about 94 with the right. I mean, it's going to be tough on some baby hitters that really got going last night. But obviously, this is a very, very unique challenge for them tonight.
Let me ask both you and Billy this question, because we certainly did anticipate this. If Vandy were to win this tournament, what does this do anything to their seed?
I don't think so. I mean, well, maybe, Billy, because you brought up the other day that they're kind of locked into that 3 spot. It'll be interesting. If Vanderbilt ends up winning, which is unlikely, but say they win the tournament, I think they could get a 2 seed. But right now, Billy, I don't think there's much difference between a 2 and a 3 in a regional. I mean, if you win, you play the 1 or the 4, and most likely the 1. But, yeah, I mean, I think there's a shot Vanderbilt could get a 2 if they'd have to win the tournament, though, I think.
Yeah, again, I don't know how much it matters, but, I did look today. I kind of assumed they were locked into that 3-2, Billy. But Baseball America just today projected them on that 2 line. The one advantage of being on that, that 2 line instead of the 3 is you could avoid one of those fringe teams that are right there in the, 17, 18, 19, 20. That would be big. Also a chance you could get sort of a smaller conference champion, but Baseball America thinks they've done enough as it is to warrant that 2 seed. So I don't know. We'll see how this thing shakes out. It tends to be the baseball committees puts a little more emphasis on what happens during tournament week than say the basketball committee, which tends to kind of throw it out the window. So I still think that's very much on the table for Vanderbilt.
Billy, we got to run. We'll do it again tomorrow, and I appreciate it.
Sounds great. I can't wait. Thank you, George.
Billy Jones reporting live from the Hoover Met. Let's get your plaster bets of the day really quick.
Yeah, it's brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law, best in the business. Give them a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. All right, real quick, results from last night.
Skip it.
Another loss.
Yes, skip it.
Warm up.
Here are 2 big-time winners tonight. You take the Celtics. They got their scare 2 nights ago. Indiana now has their attention. And in the hockey, we're going Dallas Stars at home against Edmonton. Kelly, you have tomorrow off, and for that, we are all eternally grateful.
See y'all. Holla at you.
Hey, you have a good week. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Billy, you, on the other hand, are going nowhere.
Stuck here tomorrow.
Yes. Gosh, you're just toiling, working so hard.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done for today, but we'll be back tomorrow with the incredibly exciting segment, Ask the Director.
Oh, no.
This is the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.